Um, I mean, to keep it absolutely funky with you, I just think it's like we're, together as a whole planet, like a kind of like a whole organism, all connected in some way that maybe we're not so keen on, like exactly how. And as a planet, we're just like rolling the other way now, or we've kind of like hit some sort of threshold where maybe like experience is a little bit more, or a lot more important. It kind of seems like more youth come out and they want to have the experience and not so much save the money or kind of make the material choices.
Well, what is it about material choices that you might want to reject?
Maybe maybe like the catch in them, or like they kind of feel like it's kind of like a ruse. It's kind of as far as advertising and wanting the things that they need money or investments to get. Like, I think a lot of us, like, maybe it's just stuff like this, like a documentary film, like people are kind of getting turned on to like Michael Moore or something and realizing, like, remember there's Michael Moore
Uh-huh.
scene where he's talking about like the lower class is constantly like reaching for that cupcake that like perhaps they never even needed, and maybe that's like what we're learning or trying, like testing out. Like, I think there's something definitely going on with trust and like intimacy where sometimes I find it hard to just trust myself, like my, that first thought, or trying to map the cartography of my brain and just like what's me, what's like some like old me or something, or some old way, or something that I can't really put my finger on.
Like you want to be more unified together and not as in parts. You want to become whole.
I would say so, yeah.
Or
And
what?
perhaps I found more parts of myself and it's a little bit uncanny or a little bit like foreign. So it's kind of like I found art, painting and stuff, and I've always been artistic and drawn towards it, but I never really painted and been in that zone of while you are painting and kind of like the creative flow and like finding the process of it and the joy of it, I guess, and not like I'm gonna make a painting and then like know what it's gonna be beforehand. Just kind of sitting down painting, doing it, and like time flies by. So I found that within myself. It was just lurking. I just for the longest time just told myself I couldn't draw, and I guess just the perfect storm happened where I attempted it, and I remember that specifically, drawing and dancing is kind of something that has always been in me. So it's like, yeah, it's been like remembered, right? Like a member of myself that has been like recognized or recalled, recollected. And whole is a good word, right? Like maybe
Sounds like
holy isn't religious; it's just you're a whole person. Yeah, I think that is absolutely true. Like it is a bumper sticker, and it's so much more than a bumper sticker, title of a song, or a hit. Like all you need is love. Like it's truly all you need. Like I felt it. I've been there. It's like you can somehow eat off of it. It's all you need. Um, but I don't know. Perhaps we're like carrying stuff around that makes us forget that. Or again, with like the cathartic like testing out of your virtues. Like maybe because I just see a lot of grumpiness. I see it in myself a lot. I just had a tantrum the other day because I couldn't find a lighter. I knew I just had it. It's just this impossible thing of like, oh, do I really have to go get cans to buy a lighter that I know I just had? The funny thing is the lighter is in my pant cuff. Like, it's on me the
yeah,
whole time. It's like this cosmic joke. um,
but it speaks to the whole mechanics of living outside the box. That lighter means a lot more to you than you
oh yeah,
know.
it does. Yeah, it is a sting when I realize like, oh man, I saw them put it in their pocket and I forgot to ask them back. It's like pour it back. It's almost like stealing your light a little bit. So it's like a cool lesson. But I think I'm testing it out of like, is it really true that all you need is love? Like, you know, is it really true? And more I find out, yeah, it is.
Choosing to live a lifestyle outside of the grid is one way to cope with that.
Oh yeah, to like turn off or kind of drop out, right? Not make the decisions anymore, just kind of be or like do whatever the day, whatever the whims of the day are. Just like let them guide you. And yeah, I think definitely like because there's kids, like, and I don't mean children, but like road kids. That's all they do. It's like another like Jack Kerouac kind of push or something, where like the youth and like it's attractive. It's actually like, wow, that seems like something I'd want to do. It's not like as crazy of like, you did what? You just like left your hometown with a backpack?
When did you first encounter that idea?
Um, Over on the East Coast, I grew up in New Jersey, and I don't know if it was a person or if it was literally just on the road, Jack Kerouac on the road. I think that might have been it. There's just something about that. I mean, it was in my high school curriculum for sure, and maybe like Thoreau, just a lot of writers and media that has kind of introduced the idea, and it was very lofty and kind of beyond me somehow. I'm like aiming to be like a graduate in college, but something like dropping out is like a hard thing to do, and it's kind of strange. Where it's very easy to drop out, you just kind of do it. It's very easy. At this point, it's almost hard to get out of it, like to rise out of like, okay, now I'm gonna have to go to work. I have just a bunch of credits here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have enough for an associate's degree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of the things I'm always curious about, like how that's so valued in our culture, and I'd like to talk to people who don't hold that belief, and then why they have that belief. I mean, can you say anything about why that is or isn't important?
Yeah, personally, I think I remember hearing this song. It was like 30 seconds long. It's by the band Animal Collective, and it's just like them kind of chanting and some really weird noises in the background. It's really psychedelic, and they sing, "You don't have to go to college." And it's not like it was a light switch or anything, but it just planted a seed. I was going to college at the time, and just some other college student introduced me to that band. It was going great. I just kind of thought like there's got to be a way to do this. It seems like if you work on yourself and you reduce your standard and not want that cupcake, like, want some blackberries or something, and that's another one. It's just learning like what I could eat, learning about plants. I was drawn out here because of the mushroom season, and then foraging, and like just the excitement of like, whoa, I just like made a salad in my hand and ate it, and it was a little bitter, but I felt the nutrition in it, and here I am. There was a point where it's like deciding or just jumping due to indecision, just to like idling and not getting a job and not get enough to pay rent, and just like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just like go be homeless instead of go hitchhike or live out of my van or crash on some couches until I'm finding a apartment. It's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in the woods and set up a tent that I have. Well, like I said, like I could have just been kind of nudged along by indecision. I had apartment and income, and I decided to quit, which means either get another job, more income, or you don't have rent, you can't pay rent. So like I knew that was coming, but it's like I didn't necessarily like know the whole time, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go be homeless, like that's the solution. It was kind of like I was just kind of nudged into it. I kind of, like a lot of people will say, I chose this, I'm not homeless, home is where the heart is, and I chose this, but why are they so angry about stuff? Like,
how much is that happening to you? Like people, how much anger from other people do you experience?
I'm talking about within the homeless community, just disgruntled homies, as I would say, like just kind of, fuck the cops, like they do this and that, they're always bothering me, and like, kind of like, the way they tell it, it seems like they're being victimized and stuff, but they're doing stuff that's bothering other people, so it's just kind of an ebb and flow. Something that is really cool too is I think this is like it's kind of like where the Occupy movement went, perhaps, where it's just people are kind of like, all right, let's just occupy our town, like,
yeah,
because they kind of squished us or scattered us. So I don't know if people are talking about it. I'm definitely not hooked onto any kind of groups or anything, but it does inherently seem like a non activist. Just I'm gonna occupy my own life in my own town, and some people are braver than others, I guess. And then I mean, bravery could also look like, I don't know, kamikaze or something.
Well, it was kind of a watershed moment where people realized they could do that, and more like you're saying, it sounds like you're saying more people are decided to try it out. Like
Yeah.
you actually took steps to get prepared because you saw it coming. So it was kind of both. It was a circumstance, and you also decided to see if it would work.
Yeah, there's a bit of hesitance, I think, and it's probably just my mother and father in my head, saying like, I mean, they never told me like homelessness is bad or anything, but it would, it's definitely not something to write home about. They kind of just see it as like, is it a problem with no jobs in your area, or you know,
They're trying to understand.
yeah, and I'm just trying to tell them like I'm just doing this right now, and it's really, it doesn't click. It doesn't. Oh, he's just doing that right now, like he's learning how to skateboard or something. Just kind of go in the forest and like maybe let parts of yourself die and be the midwife to other parts. And it kind of seems like no one's gonna bother you in the forest. No one's gonna say like, hey, like tuck your shirt in or whatever it may be. We got a lot of shame as people, like, or maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. I don't think inherently like as babies. I think it's given to us, or we harbor it. But we do have like, it's like that, you know, falling, the fall and putting on a leaf all like right away, and like original sin. And I don't know if it's just, I mean, it's printing on our money. Like whether you're a Christian or not, or don't know anything about it or not. Like I just think you get spoon fed that like shame. But I prefer stuff like art and new things in the world instead of like 3 jobs or something. But there are those homies that have like 3 jobs, and I'm kind of wondering if I could ever rejoin the workforce. I used to just, I noticed I had a pattern of like traveling around, find a cool town, maybe getting swooped up by a girl or something, and kind of settling down for a little bit. But then it would be like 1 to 2 years, I'd hit this phase or something where I would, I don't know, kind of comically reference as itchy feet. I got itchy feet, I gotta go travel. But it's really just something that's like bubbling up because I'm deciding to settle now. It's like, all right, I'm rooting down. So I really like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it just seems like, all right, I settled down. I've kind of like turned the lights on some of them, but then, it's gonna shed some light on a dim one that might come up. Like, I think intimacy personally is a big thing. It's hard for me to like, I can connect and philosophize with anybody, but that is pretty cold still. It's pretty like just words, and but like as far as like intimacy is like, I don't know, just accepting people for whatever they do that might annoy you, just the natural bumping heads, and just, I kind of have this pattern of like, whoa, you're the friend that I've always wanted. Like I've been waiting for this person, but then like 3 days later, it's like, God, I can't believe I offered them to stay in my camp. Like I got to get rid of them. And I think there's something there where it's like my own, like I see something within myself on them. So I'm trying to bear through it now and see like they're not doing anything wrong. Like what, connect with them, for Christ's sakes. Someone did tell me once when I was going through the trash, who just like really laid into me and was like, dude, you're younger than me. Like, come on. And I didn't even know the guy. It was luckily it was funny at that point. I think earlier, when I was doing this, it probably would have been like, I would have been a little bit more hurt, a little bit more raw, like I was being judged or something. But some people have said like, I'm really excited to see like, you come out of this cocoon that you say you're in. Like I'm excited, and they support it, and I do think that's judgment as well. So I've kind of seen it as like judgment, whether it's bad or good. And then going back to Astoria and just this place, this town, and the community, I think it is like a very weird, like old lived-in town. Like, I mean, there's the underground. There's just like so many like such strange things, and quirky. There's quirkiness. So I think a certain like a very high degree of quirkiness is like tolerated and kind of like, all right, you're doing that. Let's see where that goes. And I'm not going to stop you because that's your thing and I do my thing, and I'd hate for you to stop me doing my thing. So, but then you get the warming center kind of like, I don't want to say shut down, but there's a lot of opposition, and I've heard the testimonies, and the concerns are legitimate concerns and stuff. But I think, I mean, just to me, it's like more of a virtue and less of an opinion of just like, if there's homeless people pooping in your park and your kids play there, like that sucks, dude. That fucking sucks. And they're leaving needles or something. Like, that really sucks. But like, people die like when the warming center's not here. Like, we can talk to people. Just like, why are we doing this? Like, do we need a bathroom or something? I went to a homeless task force meeting years ago before I became homeless. I was at the Scorcher still, and I remember it was like an hour meeting, and for the majority of it, they kind of talked about like, well, should we be saying homeless people? Like, what do we call them? Like, what's the political correct term? And even then, it was kind of like, really? Like, we're talking about the vernacular? And that's the thing, too, is the homeless demographic doesn't really show up in these things. They're unrepresented. Just the stigma. Stigma alone, it's really tough. And for people that, like, there's old winos that just are always talking about the same job that they got lined up. Like, they're just like, need to get a new pair of shoes for it, and they got it. And it's like, they're kind of, seems like they're telling themselves a story, but then never really doing it. And we all just say, like, that's great. When I think the intimacy there, which I lack, would be, Johnny, you've been saying this for the past, like, 6 months, bro. Like, what's up? Like, I kind of think you're bullshitting, Johnny. I think that is intimacy. That's, like, what I see lacking. And that's the trick, like, it's this delicate balance of, like, it's judging, saying, like, hey, I see this in you, but I accept it. I still accept it in you. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm just trying to, like, light a fire under your ass that you seem to want lit. Like, you talk about it. And the times that I have done it, it's been, like, just so, like, lovely, like, there might be some stepped on toes or something for a while, but I always get through it.